They went and gave us a new hotline. Astral Constructs. I already know about that? Strange. Just kind of bring up now at random almost. But so it goes. Wow, I haven't gotten 5 headshot kills? I guess I usually weaken people with headshots, but don't necessarily commit to using all headshots for the kill. I should spam some melee. I keep not getting the 50 because I just keep dying. I don't want to curb my natural tendency towards experimentation just for the sake of that goal. But it'll happen when it happens, or it won't. I don't know. My first tier 3. These are such a waste of time. This entire mechanic, basically. But especially just like the spam. Just the utter spam of weaker ones that you just pick up in great numbers all the time. They have to manually search through and clean up in order to continue picking up more so that you can eventually get the good ones. I don't really know why anyone likes these kinds of systems. It's just busy work. Now what I am happy to see is skill points. Those have a clear focus. A purpose. This is my real goal here. Maximize my throw, maximize my health. I would increase my gun power if I could, but I can't. More energy would make sense though. I should increase my energy too. So that's the next thing to prioritize in addition to health, is my energy. Because then I can do more throwing. But really, I get a lot of mileage out of my current number of throws.
Hope's grasping at straws.
Why? If hiss is a frequency, then why couldn't it vibrate molecules in order to alter human physiology? It would explain the hair loss.
Think about it. The precision that would require is unthinkable.
Hair loss. The bald character we've seen so far was the vision of what I assume is our brother.
Faden, you find a prism.
These corrupted organisms vary so wildly. What's the connection?
That's so new documents show up over the course of this playthrough, I think. I don't think this was here before. Hiss cluster. Those are the balls. Hiss clusters are unique in that they are concentrated manifestations of hiss resonance without the need of a host. Hiss clusters are dense spherical compressions of hiss resonance that serve support functions in the hierarchy of hiss entities. The clusters are capable of replenishing hiss hosts from with infusions of resonance. This does not heal any physical damage inflicted on the organic host, but rather seems to rejuvenate them, allowing them to endure more bodily harm than normally possible. The fact that the hiss makes an effort to preserve its corrupted hosts underlies a level of awareness and discretion that was previously just speculation on my part. Can this entity be considered an individual, or simply an extension of the hiss as a whole? Capturing one alive would prove quite interesting. Alive in quotes, because they don't seem to be alive, but is anything alive? Is it all continuously alive as one big thing? Oh, here's the thing that looked like it was like a flappy thing. I said it looked like a floating robe, kind of. Was it the hiss elevated? Was that what it was called? No. Distorted? Distorted. Hiss distorted agents are able to render themselves invisible and emit a powerful concussive blast when in close range of the target. Curiously, the hiss distorted is apparently not able to utilize both abilities at once. It must make itself visible when it goes on the offensive. The hiss distorted is unique in the fact that it wields a paranatural ability previously unknown to the Bureau, perhaps tapping into a yet undiscovered object of power? How does this invisibility work? Does the distorted become resonance temporarily? Does it use Hiss resonance to refract light? The physical deformation of this particular Hiss entity is noteworthy in its thoroughness. Clearly the human host would have died with such extreme alteration, which prompts the question, are the corrupted simply animated corpses? Because this guy, yeah, this guy's got a bunch of like floating flesh everywhere and an open rib cage and so on. That's just distressing. A lot of enemy types, although some of them are just dudes with guns, so you wouldn't appreciate the sheer number of mildly different enemies unless there was this giant list right here for me to read through. These are the ones throwing debris at me. The Hiss warped wield only paranatural abilities, similar to the drifters. They are able to telekinetically shield themselves with nearby material and launch objects at their target. These entities are particularly destructive and difficult to kill, possibly indicating a greater internal reinforcement of Hiss resonance. Why do certain Hiss display paranatural abilities while others rely on Bureau firearms? Do certain corrupted entities have less potential than the hosts that became Hiss warped, or is it simply an indication of evolution or maturation of the Hiss corruption? Are there other stages of evolution yet to be found? What if the Hiss inhabits a host for a month, a year? Do hosts too strong for an organic body? Does the corruption become too strong for an organic body to endure? Only time and well-documented observation will tell. One would hope we don't sit around long enough to know, because we kind of want this to end, don't we? But that is one potential explanation for why the enemies keep getting more advanced, is that it might be just the sheer amount of time they spend in Hiss form is making them warp into more and more advanced forms just over the course of the game. Just the time it takes for me to solve everything in this game is giving them time to keep evolving. Maybe. Or it might be that you hear about in nature organisms having like it's almost like a decision of like how much energy is worth investing in the growth of that organism. That happens in humans too sometimes, like the wealth of resources available to them when they're growing up in their adolescence and puberty and so on may affect how like large they are as a human, and that the access to more resources leads to people being taller and heavier and so on. And so like it might be that on some level the environment and the Hiss is deciding how many resources to invest in each particular enemy, which would explain why each fight might feature enemies that are severely advanced and also enemies that are just dudes with guns at the same time, is that they have just been invested in to different extents. Because they can't be all evolving equally over time. If it is over time, then they either evolve at different, then they must be evolving at different rates, because presumably everybody without an HRA all became Hiss infected at the same time, and it's not continually getting new people infected, because people that have HRAs seem to get murdered and they just lay around as corpses and seem to not get Hiss infected, which seems to imply that if you're dead you can't be Hiss infected. So if they are all just evolving based on time, then it's not an equal amount of time per body, or they would all be the same creature or similar. Linguistics ability. Analysis of Hiss threat part 2. Researchers were sent to transcribe the recursive chant repeated by the Hiss entities. In the interest of safety, this was done with the non-aggressive floating Hiss entities. However, no distinction between this repeating phrase and the one repeated by the more violent Hiss entities has been observed. What is the purpose of this repeating string of words? Is this how the Hiss corrupts individuals? Does the chant produce a physical effect? Is it a message? An incantation? We were able to record a first-hand recitation of the chanting. See the corresponding audio record. Do I have that? Black Rock. The debrief. The home safe. The object is a guardhouse brand home safe. Weight measurements vary. When bound, the object allows para-utilitarians to telekinetically gather items and debris from their surroundings. Object currently bound by me, actually. Discovered in the basement of the home in something, Ohio, the object gained rapid interest in certain online forums dedicated to opening abandoned safes. After months of failure, the owner attempted to open it with explosives. The object survived with no physical damage. The Bureau agents were dispatched, now confident of its paranatural nature. Blood occasionally emerges from the seam around the object's door. Tests confirm the blood's not human. X-rays taken of the object indicate that something is trapped inside, though the images are always blurred, which indicates the contents of the object are moving. All attempts to open the object have been unsuccessful. I don't like... Oh, this game is such a fucking SCP database. Oh, it's like, oh, it's a weird safe, and it makes you safe by letting you be able to gather stuff around it to defend itself. Okay, cool. By the way, there's a living creature inside of it, and it's moving, and it's bleeding. Like, I don't like that. I didn't need to know that. Oh, I'm just thinking of some of the SCPs I know about now. Like the one that looks like an image of a wolf with no face. It kind of looked like the image that I saw looked like a werewolf standing around, but it had no skin on its face. It just had a skull for a face, and you just see it in reflections. Once it's inflicted upon you, whenever you look in any reflection, you'll see it just kind of looming, and the closer it gets to you, the closer you are to dying. I think that's what I remember it being about. So it's just kind of slowly it gets closer each time you see it. But it could be there. It could be there for years as a companion, just silently watching. It doesn't even seem to be overtly hostile. It just it seemed to just be kind of a countdown to your doom. But it's just so distressing that in the story, the person who had that thing following them, the other person that they knew was they lost their mind and killed themselves to escape it. Oh. So these are all of them chronologically. Because there's the guy who I found in the office, I believe, and I believe that's me. The one with the blanket over it, basically.
Jesse, when you were down in research, did you run into a Dr. Rhea Underhill?
I didn't. Who is she?
She is a colleague of mine. A researcher studying a kind of extra-dimensional mold growing below research.
Well, I don't like the sound of that.
No one does. Look, I haven't heard from Rhea since the hiss arrived. Would you mind having a look around for her next time you're in research?
Of course.
Thanks, Jesse. Now, what's on your mind?
Holding G doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Huh.
I visited the quarry. What's the plan for all that black rock?
The Bureau has used black rock almost exclusively for containment purposes. See, I say, branch out. Instead of boxes, helmets. Instead of blast shields, knives.
Knives?
Yes, knives! So many combat applications. Slicing, stabbing, gouging, or... Sorry. I've been trying to get Darling to explore combat applications for years. I got a little excited.
Wow. I did not expect that from her. This place is looking good. Arish is making real progress around here.
Right? This place is a fortress, and with him taking care of operations here, I can spend more time analyzing the hiss. I've been attempting to isolate and neutralize the hiss resonance in blood samples, but no luck so far.
So you can't reverse it?
Not yet, but perhaps reversing it is too simple. See, if hiss resonance can rewrite human genetics, then perhaps it's a question of rewriting the hiss resonance. In theory, that could pave the way for custom human genetic alteration.
I wonder how often the phrase mad scientist is used around here. How is HRA production coming along?
Better than expected. We've already made enough to get people out of a couple safe rooms. And they're here, alive, thanks to you. And we never would have lasted this long if you hadn't walked in those doors.
You deserve thanks too, of course. We got this place up and running together, Emily. I should be going. Enjoy your data.
Oh, I will.
My data. Old growth. An active threshold below central research. Dr. Underhill. I wonder if that's the moldy place I already saw. That was all fucky looking. Maybe we have our context for why to go there now.
References to Hedron? There's something we're missing.
No response? So it sounds like it's in research, but where? Double check. Central research. Oops. Good starting point for now. I think I can just get there again by just jumping down that one elevator shaft. If that is what if I am thinking of the right spot. Definitely seemed like we were leaning towards something when I found that place. But I was like, you know what? That's a fun bit of curiosity, but let's wait till I actually find, you know, a reason to be here. Oh, we doing this? You just distract them for a bit, if you don't mind. There we go. There's a headshot. Oh yeah, there's the goops. Dude, headshots are fucking hard. Their heads are so small. There we go, I got all 5. Time to never get a headshot again on purpose. Threshold utility. Thresholds have always been sources of great inspiration and great challenge. When a new threshold manifests in the oldest house by... we never know what new discoveries it will provide the Bureau. But we must always seize these opportunities. This report will examine the process of distinguishing recent threshold effects based on their utilitarian possibilities. The quarry brought black rock, one of our most invaluable discoveries, but if the mold has any scientific value, it has been difficult to find due to the lengths we must go in fighting back the particularly prolific plant. These are very distinct cases, and worth comparing, as their study offers vastly different dangers and rewards. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this thing just sort of spreading. Stop it. You guys are currently proving persistent. All cleared out. Or who among us has touched the foundations of the world and deemed them solid? Cafeteria. I don't know if I've ever come this far down, actually. No, no. Oh, damn it. What item was it? I clicked on it correctly. Hubert, Blackrock analysis. Hi, Carla. Does it strike you as odd that Darling insists on having us appear in those bizarre videos of his? I mean, we just stand there. He doesn't even let us have any lines or anything. Don't get me wrong. Beats day in the lab. Plus, it's always great to work with you. Oh yeah, I finished the comparative analysis of the 2 Blackrock samples you sent. The prism, or whatever you called it. I filed them in the usual place under C for Carla. A handy mnemonic device, right? Anyway, let me know if there's anything you want to discuss about the data. I'll gladly explain. Maybe we could chat about it over some drinks. Or dinner even. I can't remember the last time I had a good steak. Maybe we could go together after work sometime. I'm free tomorrow. All the very best, Hubert. Wow, Hubert is really thirsty. Just the thirstiest. Interesting texture for exploding this. It happens. You just, yeah. You just know this is a satisfying room to cause destruction in. There's just so many objects, all these individual tables and chairs everywhere. The hell are those? Interesting looking trees. No one telling me. Whoa. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised considering how big this particular area is, but these bathrooms are massive. So much space. What is that? Oh, just more tissue paper. Did I just watch that toilet spring out of the ground? I guess I should have expected the toilets to be destructible too. Everything's a physics object. There's a game where you're gonna rip a toilet out of the ground and throw it at people. Or not. Out of my way, door. I'm trying to play with the toilet. Sit out of my way. Well, that's disappointing. Okay, oh, now I can rip. Now I can bring the toilet with me. And just end somebody with it. How do you imagine dying, huh? Be a toilet? Just look at the toilet-shaped crater. I mean, it's not like Looney Tunes precise or anything, but it is like vaguely of the size and shape of the toilet, which is amusing. What a beautiful bathroom. Look at these places. It's actually a little hard to because the camera keeps clipping through. I felt so betrayed when it just wouldn't blow up. What do you got in here? I'm trying to see what's in here. Hi there. Feel bad for whoever has to actually run this place later. Also, excuse me, what? Health recovery mod? Oh. It's just... It's 40% though. Oh yeah. That's a better version of what I got. 43%. Health on pickup. That's good stuff. I just keep hoping... I keep hoping for like a life leech or some other thing. Or something that makes my heals happen over time, or that makes the heals stronger. I don't really know what I want. I don't really... Yeah. I don't necessarily know what on-element pickup means in the first place. Like, I don't know if it means construct those things you need in order to craft. Or if it just means the blue stuff. You just got hit by your friend. You just got hit by your friend. Just kidding, you guys don't have friends. Delete. Yeah, like those, an astral blip and stuff like that. I don't know if those are elements or if this is elements. I'm not entirely sure which one counts. But whatever, I'm randomly picking shit up all the time. And I needed increases to my healing. Just in general, so that I can survive. Makes sense. Oh, you didn't grab the ledge? Oh, it's coming up. So it is here. It is yeah, this is the exact spot from before. Just the elevator didn't work before, but that didn't matter because they made the level design in a way where you could easily get all the way to the bottom without that mattering. But this time I get to ride it the leisurely style. These bars seem indestructible. They even expected you to do that. There was an item there. It's like they expected me to parkour down here because there's freaking chests along the way that reward you for not taking the elevator. Shit's crazy. Also, does this elevator lower directly into the middle of a bathroom? This has to be a rearrangement. This has to be the older house shifting. Because this doesn't make any sense. That they'd have an elevator go into the middle of a bathroom. A typewriter. Hey guys, remember me? What, are you guys friends?
Careful in there, ma'am. Area's under quarantine. I wouldn't go in there without talking to Underhill first. Even if you have, I still wouldn't go in.
Yeah, I was here before, and these guys weren't here, which is concerning, because I think canonically they were supposed to already be here.
Excuse me? Are you lost?
That's just rude, frankly. Underhill, checking in. Oops. Hello, Rhea. How is it going down there? Enjoying the mold so far? Settling back into life at the old FBC? I also wanted to ask how your coffee with Emily went. She's a star on the rise, incredibly bright, extremely intuitive, but I want to hear what you thought of her. I think you two could be very good on a project together. Could learn a lot from each other. Let's get together and chat about it soon. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. I'm sure you can't think of anything besides the mold right now. You always were a woman of focus. I always admired that about you. Talk soon, Casper. Documents. Threshold Utility Counter Essay. Dr. Darling's recently penned essay titled contains some glaring omissions that I feel I must shine a light on. Firstly, the entire premise of the essay is that the quarry threshold is beneficial to the Bureau, while the mold is actively hostile, to use his words. We cannot determine the worth of these dimensions and their life forms using bureaucratic definitions. Secondly, the mold is much more beneficial than some rock. If the creating the mold were reconfigured in their purpose, the structures they could build would rival the greatest skyscrapers. The mold's resistance to various strains of disease we've attempted to introduce could be derived into... Yes, admittedly, this application is more difficult than picking up a rock and gluing it to a wall, but I paused to wonder when the Bureau lost its eagerness for a challenge. This is some sassy interoffice nonsense. So we had the previous one where the telekinetic people and the other people all had a rivalry. Like, I'm the one who really matters, and here's some brandy or whatever to bribe you into supporting us more. And now we got the rock people versus the mold people. They can't agree on who's more deserving of grants and access. Mold threshold. So you want to know about know how my mold research is getting on, Casper? Here it is. Microscopic organisms, similar to the appearance to blah 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 blah, construct the architecture of the mold. I do not understand if these are the original disseminators of the mold or are bitten by some fungal infection. The mold is the most prolific and durable organism I have ever seen. I theorize there is a mold source located somewhere on our side of the threshold, rooted here to accelerate growth in our dimension. I refer to this yet unknown source as Mold 1. The mold produces an enticing aroma to encourage human consumption of itself. It propagates in the chest cavity and quickly consumes the entire body, seizing control of motor functions. I don't want to be here anymore. This behavior was not observed until I first arrived, which means the mold has adapted to our presence, targeting our biological imperatives as a way to spread. It is truly an ingenious little thing. A full report will be ready soon. Keep your slacks on. I don't like it. So even before the hiss happened, they were already dealing with a mold that would take over your body in a way similar to The Last of Us. What the fuck? And also, this wasn't happening until they were already researching it and she arrived, which means they were already researching it and then it started putting on aroma, and then people just decided to start eating it even though they probably already knew it was a dangerous thing. That's strange. You'd take it to be dangerous based on the context. It must be irresistibly desirous for you to consume it. But I guess we'll be immune to that like everything else. Feels like this was gonna wipe everybody out if the hiss didn't. Like, this seems like it's spreading through the entire goddamn building at a rate that's distressing. And it grows in you!